Welcome, everybody, to another edition of 25 with Tech 25, where every week we'll feature one portion of our office over here at Tech 25. So again, welcome. I'm Tim Higgins. I'm Secretary here at Admin, joined also by
Chris Bono, Director of Technology and Assessment.
And I'm Andrew Benton, Data and System Specialist here at Tech 25.
And each week we're trying to offer a number of different professional development opportunities for our staff, ranging from Twitter chats, live events such as this, or even classes that we can host online. And we continue to want to have your feedback, both during this episode and then about other ideas that you'd like training on. So please feel free to tweet or email your ideas. You can send us a tweet during this broadcast and we'll answer your questions. It's at ahst25.tech. Or you can email at tech25@st25.org. So the variety of different opportunities that we have, again, we want you to be involved not only in real time, but also in generating the ideas for future opportunities, as well as other possibilities that we're going to be discussing. So today what we have in store with you is our third episode talking about some of the Google apps that we have. Today we're really going to be highlighting Google Docs and Google Slides. And not only just creating them or the basics, but really how you can use them to collaborate, share, and really access this information from anywhere that you need to. So Tim and Andrew are going to do some of the driving today, and we're going to show you kind of how to share up all of your different documents that you can create in here, really create just a really nice collaborative experience for you and your students or you and peers. So again, all these trainings are available to you online and being recorded, but today we're going to jump right into Google Docs.
Good. So there's a couple options, and when it comes to documents you might already have or a new document. So of course, and we'll show you, but if you're going to create a new fresh Google Doc and share that out and comment on it, that's pretty obvious. You're going to create a new document. It'll be a blank canvas. You'll start typing. You'll do whatever you have to do to create the document prior to sharing it out. In this case, what we're going to do is look at a Word document that happens to already exist. It's maybe a document that we need to, that maybe we use every year. And maybe it's something that, you know, I've always done myself. And so this year and this time around, I'm going to ask others to collaborate with me. So I really simply just wanted to show you, you are looking at Microsoft Word right here. And I wanted you to pay a little bit of attention to the numbering, to the bolding, and to, there's even a table in here. Sorry about that. Oh, there's not a table. But anyway, I wanted you to see some of that. And the reason I want you to see some of that formatting is because there may be a worry that when we go to convert this document into a Google Doc that we're going to lose some of the formatting and sort of have to reformat it all. What we're doing here and what I'm talking about in this case is a simple document like this. If we are talking about maybe like an order form or something like that, I probably wouldn't suggest converting it directly into a Google Doc. You'll lose an awful lot of the formatting. Right now, we're talking about a simple document. So what we're going to do now is jump into Drive. That's the Word document that we're about to upload into Google Docs. All right, there we go. So this is Google Drive. This is the new Google Drive. I think we talked last week that what you may have flashing right across the middle of your screen right here, it won't look like this. It'll say, try the new Drive. What we're doing with all of our trainings here with 25 with Tech 25 is we're going to be working and living in the new Drive. Of course, it just happened as we started launching into trainings, but maybe it was good timing because we're in the beginning of some of these, and so This is the new drive. You'll have a button that says try the new drive. Very simple. So I had talked earlier about simply using a new and creating a Google Doc, but in this, a fresh Canvas Google Doc, but in this case, we're going to say file upload. I do not believe that you're able to see the Finder window, but I can promise you that I am looking for that document on the hard drive of the machine that this Hangout is being held. And so we have now that file, that Word file that has been converted into a Google Doc. So if I double click on it, this is it. You see, obviously, we're not in Word anymore, my friends. We are in Google Doc. You can see that the formatting has stuck. I'll go scroll through it a little bit. We may have had one little thing here, so maybe it won't be perfect, but that just needed a little return. So the document itself actually has converted pretty nicely, and it's because it was a more simple document. So immediately, I can just basically, we're certainly not going to go through and show you, what centering is and what some of these options are, but when you're first in, if you've never been in, certainly go through and familiarize yourself. You'll notice file, edit, view, insert, format tools. That's very similar to any word processor you've ever been in. So it's going to be very much similar to the environment you worked in before. If you had any worries at all about utilizing a new word processing system, this is going to be very similar to Microsoft Word or any other that you have used.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I heard to say, so again, this is to reiterate, we have kind of decided to start offering all these different methods now. One of the other options that I think was mentioned a little bit earlier by Chris is the training grounds, which is sort of a training that we do right now. They're scheduled for every Thursday up until winter break. But after that, I'm very much open to kind of opening the schedule to what works out for people. So kind of learning the ins and outs, each little button does, going step by step through, whether it's a Google app or some type of program that you want to learn. The training grounds is going to be a perfect place to learn about that. So if you want to if you have interest in it and you'd like to shoot me an email at thiggins@sd25.org and let me know what topics you'd like to learn about, and if there's any specific time that works better for you, then Thursdays at 3:30. Let me know.
Excellent. So I thought I'd just kind of jump around a little bit while he was talking. Since you're watching the screen, you can see that we do, again, have similar tools as we do in any other word processing program. The key to Google, and you're getting sick of hearing us talk about it potentially, but in Google Apps, we have the ability to collaborate now. And that's what I wanted with this document, this Word document. So I'm going to simply click share. I'm going to type Cifano, who is going to hopefully accept our invitation. Real quick, I just want to show you that even in this situation, if you happen to want to share it out with a group, you see some of the groups, maybe it's your team leader group, maybe it's all the third grade teachers in your building, whatever groups are already in Google, you can also use, or you can use individual emails. I will send that out. Chris is going to get an email, and it's going to have a link where he can it simply says you have been invited to share and edit in a document. You see right here that Chris popped up.
How's it going? Thanks for sharing that.
Chris popped up in the document, and so now he and I are both able to make some changes. So I'm working on it. I'm making some changes. You see Chris's name pop up there. I'm gonna get rid of this whole line because we don't like it. So you see Chris and I both making some changes. That collaboration can happen with as many people as you like. Again, we potentially could have sent it out to a whole group. One other thing that can happen is potentially, let's say I shared this out with Chris, and we weren't really working on it real time. One of the things he or I could do, whoever has editability, is watch that I'm highlighting this heading right here, and I can click on comment, and I can make a comment specifically on that title. I can say, do we really want this as a title? So, you know, this certainly could be, we could also have live chat back and forth while we're in a document. But in this case, let's just, I guess, pretend that we're asynchronous. We're not really working on it at the same time. So Chris has replied to my title comment. And so we will change it to even other scenarios.
The way with words.
I do have a way with words. And what's interesting is Chris gave a comment. He gave the comment that he thinks it's pretty weak. And so I replied to it. And so I'm really not even sure what that means. There's this interesting little, I could have replied to it, or I can basically have fixed it and then click resolve. And so it's interesting that he and I will both get a comment that, I'm sorry, some sort of notification in our email, in our Gmail, that that comment, his reply, I made the change, I said it's resolved, and so he actually can find that out. So I think that's, I mean, I went through quick, but honestly, isn't that just what we're basically preaching about with this, using Google Apps versus, you know, Microsoft Word, where that file was stuck on my hard drive. I would have had to email it to Chris. He would have made the changes, emailed it back. So in this case, we're collaborating. Good.
One piece that we also want to show you is, besides commenting, there's a way that people can make suggestions instead of edits. And so what you're going to see show up is, as the person who was shared with the document, I don't just have to edit the particular, you know, layout or the text, but I can actually leave suggestions for the author. So I'm just going to show you that real quick.
So you can actually see it as it's happening, that he's offering a suggestion, not really altering the page, which is nice.
Yep. And then as the author, or as the person who's doing the sharing, you can agree to that suggestion, or you can eliminate it. So I think if you close this comment window, if that'll close for you, here you can see that the suggestion was added, or the suggestion was put in place, and now you're prompted with this ability to say, yeah, I want to put that as part of our document, or no, I don't, by simply accepting it with the check mark or rejecting it with the X. So both ways are interactive places that you could use for you and a peer who are doing it, or a colleague, or especially with your students as you're doing any kind of editing or revising. You don't always have to just change what's on there, but you can comment or you can add suggestions.
Again, some of these functions in Docs, so that's a lot about collaboration and commenting, and remember, you can do live chat through it. So that's a lot of working together with somebody or a group on a document. Sorry, so this is where Chris went. Under editing, he selected suggesting, and so what that did is put it in a mode where, again, I can start typing, I'm not messing him up. So I'm not messing the document up. So that's where he found that. I'm going to go back to editing. Again, there are some tools that you're going to find from Word. There's a couple that I really wanted to hit on that are pretty impressive, and here's a simple one. It's actually not simple in what it does, but if I say convert and I pick Spanish to this document, as quickly as I can hit translate, it's actually going to open a new document. I'll have a second document in the in my Google Drive environment. There it is, the translated copy. I could have renamed that. And so it turned it into a Spanish version. A couple other things. If you wanted to convert this into a PDF real quick, we're all done. We need to get it out to some people who really aren't in our Google environment. We're going to download as PDF, and basically it just pops up immediately in preview as a PDF, and the document's ready to go. So I just wanted to show you a couple in Docs sort of functions that aren't necessarily something you will see in Word. Again, as you're going through these menu items, they're going to be pretty familiar. So that is Google Docs. And so what I'm going to do now, do you guys have anything else that you think maybe they'd like to see in the Docs universe before we move over to slides?
Not at the moment, but I do think something that we will do in the future, and something that is kind of neat, is add-ons which are built, which is an option that Google's put into Google Docs, where you can go and pick little, exactly as it sounds, little add-ons to help you with different functionality. There's one for EasyBib, which makes creating bibliographies a little bit easier, and there's a few add-ons where you can add voice comments, things like that. And so that'll be either in later episodes or over one of the other methods of training that we have going on here. So I think that getting the thumbs up that we are good with Google Docs. So what I'm going to do is take us over into talk about Google Slides or Google presentations. They've been known as sort of different things in the last few years, and there's been kind of a transition recently as Google's been doing some updates and changing the look and sort of the whole layout of the way that this all works. So just like with Google Docs, and there's going to be a lot of things here that are very much the same as what Andrew just talked about a little while ago, is to make a new presentation. All we're going to do is hit new, and we're going to create a new Google slide if we wanted to create sort of that blank canvas that a lot of people are looking for to start something from scratch. And very familiar, as in PowerPoint or Keynote, we get this little template chooser that pops up. And that's just another example of how this is going to be very familiar if you've already used different presentation creating software. So you can kind of create the look that you're going for, change a little bit of the aspect ratio, things like that. In this case, I actually already have a presentation that is saved here in my Google Drive in my folder called Presentations. And it's one called Laptop University. That is a presentation that we do for any of the new staff members in the district to kind of get to know their way around the laptop a little bit. And so this was actually originally created in Keynote. From Keynote, I was actually able to we put it into PowerPoint at one point in time to be able to play it on a Windows machine. But what I've done is change that PowerPoint up into a Google Slide presentation. And from here, we can do very much the same thing where I can share this with Chris if I wanted to right now. So we'll go share, and it looks very much the same. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into to this just to point out a couple neat features of sharing. One is that right here next to the name or the group that we've shared this document with, there's this option, and it's defaulted to be chosen as can edit, which means that anybody that it's been shared to can delete text, add text, change the document completely. But what we can also do is change it to can comment, giving the shared user the ability to just do what we were just demonstrating before, which is you can make comments that the owner of it can come back, review later, and maybe make those changes. So it gives the owner a little bit more control over the document. We can also do can view, which is very similar to a PDF sort of idea, is that you can view everything that's on there. You would see it the way that anybody that the file's been shared to can see it, but you can't make any changes. That's sort of the ultimate control that you would have on it there. Now I want to kind of point out down here, there's also this advanced menu. If I open that up, another kind of neat thing, and this is especially useful if you're sharing it with a large group of people, where maybe we don't have an already established group. Say you're sharing it with everybody in the district or everybody in your building, you have this option to select a link. And this link actually brings anybody who clicks on it directly here to your document. Now, if we pick that option, we want to send this link out to everybody, what we'd want to do is come into this advanced menu and change our access. If we click on change, we have a couple different options here. Ranging from sharing it publicly on the web so that anybody with this would be able to search it, and a little bit more controlled, which is the kind of the option I'm talking about here, is that if you choose this, anyone with a link can view it. You send out the link, you can click on it, get to this document. If somebody else that you know on a secondary level would like to see it as well, but maybe they weren't on that original email group, you can forward this link onto them. They would have access to it as well. So there's all sorts of different privacy options in this section here of Google Docs. So I'm going to go back. We're just going to share it with Chris, and I'm going to uncheck this notify via email. So in this case, he knows that it's coming. This might be useful in the terms of in the classroom where maybe you have 30 kids who are sharing each of their own document with you. You probably don't want 30 emails coming in to let you know that a document is showing up that you already know about. So you might want to uncheck that as well. So and since we are done sharing, we can click done and we are good to go. Another kind of neat little thing. So now we have our presentation going on here. We can change it. Chris is on here. He can make changes to it right now. We can collaborate a little bit. And say, this first slide, a little bit boring. I mean, it tells us what's going on, but we want to kind of dress it up a little bit. And the easiest way to do that is to add an image to it. And the nice thing with Google Docs is that, very similar to the way that a lot of the Mac programs work, is it's very click and drag based. So if I wanted to add, I picked out this little Apple MacBook Air picture a little bit earlier, and I want to incorporate this into my presentation. I can just click and drag it from my desktop, drop it on top of my Google presentation, and we saw a little yellow notification came up where it kind of converted it into our document. And now it's editable within our presentation here. And obviously, because it wasn't made specifically for this, it's kind of big. So you click your handle up here. If you hover over it, it changes from the cursor to the little resize window. And we can resize it. If we needed to, the little handle up top lets me rotate it. But now we've got this nice little picture in here. Now, obviously, it's messing up the back, so we just click on that, on the text in the background, and same sort of thing. We can just move things around. And if you notice, there's a little red line there. There's a centering grid that shows up for even another level of Google Docs trying to help you out in terms of making things look a little bit crisper, a little bit more professional.
I think one of the general comments with Google Docs versus Google Apps versus the Microsoft Suite is that some of this drag and drop and some of the functionality that you get so frustrated by for all those years in Word, I'll use for example, are much easier here. Google, it's almost like Google knew those top 5 things that drives you absolutely crazy in Word. So if you're trying to drag a picture into an actual Word doc, into a word processing document into Google Docs, the little buttons show up right there saying, how do you want this to go? Do you want the text to wrap around? Do you want it to be tight? Do you want it to break it? And so that's just an example of how Google has actually made some of this stuff easier. You'll find as you're going through. The other thing in these Google apps is that I think we all know that Word, Excel, PowerPoint has 59 trillion options and functions and all of that. Google definitely made an effort to trim it down. And I mean, they're truly only using the stuff that you've ever used in your life anyway. You don't have all of that extra.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice and simple, easy to use. You get done what you need to without having to worry about the bells and whistles, and the clicking. And again, I just want to reiterate: if you are looking to kind of go in and go step by step through each of the different buttons, each of the menus that this offers, just let us know. Let us know that you're interested, and we will find time to have you in here or come out to your schools, get a group together there. We can also do Google Hangouts and kind of collaborate rather than this broadcasted out version to be able to learn it.
Are there any questions, Chris, to HSD 25 Tech?
Not yet,
There are no questions.
No questions.
but I know maybe just to end off, if they do want to continue the conversation with somebody, you can also use the chat feature, which is that little bubble next to the person who's next to them. And you can collaborate in real time.
We're not like, we don't work for Google or something. Honestly, I sometimes sound like I do, but in the end, like, just think about some of what you saw today and picture yourself doing it in some other environment. It really is. It really is, in terms of collaboration, just so different in this Google environment. That is our time, I think.
Looks like it. So again,
27 with Tech 25 today.
right.
Bonus. Bonus.
So,
A little overtime.
a little gift, a little gift, and that's for all of you who have made it through, each and our regular viewers who have come back each and every week. We appreciate it. That's what makes this all worthwhile. So we hope that you have a great evening. Any questions that you have after the fact? Oh, you're right. Yeah. Let's not look at this Google presentation. Let's look at us. And so again, thank you for joining us. And any questions? So even though we're going to be, ending our broadcast here in a second, you can always send the questions on to Twitter or to our email. It's backwards, so that was why that was confusing. And we will be happy to answer your questions, help you through whatever projects you're working on at any time. So,
all right.
thank you very much.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Drive safely.
Till episode 4.